In this video, we're going to solve two questions where we're asked the opportunity cost when we're given the input method of production. The first question asks us, what is Denmark's opportunity cost of producing 1 dozen eggs? The first step to answering this problem is to realize that we're given the production in terms of inputs needed to produce each of the goods. So it's the input method of production. So we're given the labor hours needed to produce eggs, as well as the labor hours needed to produce a pound of ham. So the first step to solving this problem is to write out how much each of the goods we can produce given a certain level of inputs. For instance, in 1 hour, Denmark could produce 1/10 of a dozen eggs, or could produce 1/6 of a pound of ham. The second step to solving this problem is simply to write out this in a sentence. So, the opportunity cost of 1/10 of a dozen eggs is 1/6 of a pound of ham. The third step to solving this problem is simply to realize that the question is asking us what the opportunity cost of 1 dozen eggs is, not 1/10. So we need to get a 1 in front of the dozen of eggs. So the easiest way to do this is to multiply both of these numbers, 1/10 and 1/6, by 10 and simplify. Now we can rewrite our sentence. The opportunity cost of 1 dozen eggs is 10/6, which equals 5/3 pounds of ham. Now, let's repeat these same steps to answer the second question. The second question is, what is Finland's opportunity cost of producing 1 pound of ham? So again, the first step is simply to write out how much of each good we can produce in an hour. So in 1 hour, Finland can produce, if we scroll up, you can see Finland can produce 1/4 of a pound of ham, or 1/6 of a dozen eggs. Now we need to write off this trade-off in a sentence. That's our second step. So the opportunity cost of 1/4 of a pound of ham is 1/6 of a dozen eggs. Third step is to simply simplify this 1/4 so we get a 1. The easiest way to do this is multiply both these numbers, 1/4 and 1/6, by 4, because that will give us a 1 here. The opportunity cost of 1, brackets 4/4, pounds of ham is 4/6, just 2/3 of a dozen eggs. So whenever you are asked to find the opportunity cost and are given the input method of production, we simply need to complete 3 steps. Step 1 is to write out how much of each good can be produced with the same amount of inputs. In this case, we looked at how much of each good we could produce with 1 hour, but it need not be 1 hour. It could be a day, or whatever you choose. The second step, step 2, is simply to write out this trade-off in a sentence. So, the opportunity cost of producing the first good is blank of the second good. Step 3 is simply to simplify the sentence in step 2 to get the requested or the asked for opportunity cost.